When it comes to retirement, it can seem like a very daunting and difficult task to do, but retirement is a stage of life when you actually get to enjoy your life. You no longer have to work the 9 to 5. You can enjoy the fruits of your labor, which in today's video, we're going to be looking at the retirement myths that I see. Now, many of you know, if you followed some of my videos, that we're planning to retire early, and how are we going to do that? And I want to go through, again, some of these retirement myths, share the knowledge that I know and from the research. Now, I am a certified financial counselor through the state of Michigan, and I do a lot of retirement planning and a lot of kind of budgeting and a lot of financial aspects of people's life to try to get them to buy a house, to save for retirement, among other things, especially with the elimination of debt, which is the reason why I made this channel. So let's get into these guys, starting with myth number 1. This is one of my common things that I really do look at. Myth number 1 is you will pay less in taxes during retirement. This, of course, is a very common misbelief because there is a chance, yes, that you could absolutely pay less in taxes in retirement because you're in a lower tax bracket. However, it doesn't always hold true because when you start looking at your biggest taxable accounts, mainly your 401k, when you start getting to $500,000, $1 million plus, if you have it in traditional, and this is really the big difference between traditional accounts and Roth accounts. If you have it in traditional accounts and you're required to take minimum distributions, as you start getting a little bit older, you have to take higher and higher required distributions, which means your income could absolutely skyrocket depending on if you're a very high earning individual. So let's say you have $3 to $5 million, I would say, within a 401k. And it is in a traditional 401k, chances are your taxes could be the same or could possibly be higher in retirement because now you're not getting the regular 9 to 5 income that's kind of taxed on a regular basis, but you're getting a large chunk of a required minimum distribution. And again, depending on the balances you have in there, it is going to make a big difference. Now, this comes with a caveat because this is where the Roth variation comes in, where you're actually paying taxes up front. That way, when you get to retirement, if you're taking money out of those Roth accounts, you already paid the taxes. It is literally tax-free. You don't have to claim it, which means if I spend my entire retirement years or the years building up to retirement, putting everything in a Roth, when I get to retirement, the money in the Roth is completely tax-free, which means I can guarantee that I'm going to pay less taxes in retirement because I already paid the taxes. Now we know, following Dave Ramsey's advice, really going in, and there is no way mathematically that a Roth versus a traditional, that the Roth always does make more sense, especially when you look at the compounding aspect that we have. If you're looking and even getting into retirement, let's say for instance, you're retiring at 65, that's pretty average, 62, 65, 67, whatever it may be. That is pretty average for retirement. Now, with that being said, if you retire at 65, let's say you live to 90, 95, you still possibly have 30 years of growth out of the retirement plans that you have. And again, putting it into that Roth factor really does make a big difference because you can enjoy the growth during retirement and essentially getting it to the point where it's growing faster than you're actually taking money out of it, where if you're growing at 10% and you're taking out 8, you're still seeing a little bit of growth in there. But of course, that's why we talk about the Roth variation and why it is so important. So before we get into myth number 2, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the myths that we are going to be covering, and we'll continue in here. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Looking at myth number 2, you can expect your expenses to decrease in retirement. Now, when you look at Social Security replaces roughly 40% of your income, depending on where you are. That's generally the way that Social Security was designed, is it's going to replace a percentage of your income. It is not meant to replace 100% of your income. However, when a lot of people do get to retirement, when they get to Social Security age, they start drawing Social Security, resulting in a 60% reduction in their regular 9 to 5 pay, because again, Social Security is meant to replace 40% of this. Now, also, when you start getting into retirement, if you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week at work, all of a sudden you have a ton of time. Usually, again, just using the general idea, if you retire at 65, usually 66, 67, 68, the first few years of retirement, we see a much higher expense because, of course, now you have exponential time in your hands. This could include traveling. This could be hobbies. This could be leisure activities. This could be playing golf, whatever it is. Not only do you have a lot more time in your hands, is also there also comes a lot more expenses when it starts getting into long-term care, health expenses, planned, unplanned expenses. There can be a lot of things, including childcare if you're paying for kids or grandchildren, also looking at community, work-related costs. A lot of people, again, expect going into retirement that you're going to pay less or you're going to have less of an expense. And for a majority of us, that is not the case. Now, myth number 3, you should always stay in the lowest possible tax bracket. This, again, is a very common myth, which, again, tax planning, having a tax advisor, tax efficiency planning is really imperative. So what you can do in here is if you're planning something, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years, you can actually stagger your tax, essentially your tax bracket over a couple years to make sure you have enough versus taking a huge lump sum out. Let's say you're taking $50,000 out of a retirement account. Instead of having a much higher tax bracket for the money you're taking out, you can systematically plan. Let's say we take out $10,000 a year for 5 years to hit that $50,000 versus taking $50,000 out in 1 year. Again, you can kind of plan. Now, again, if there is an unexpected expense, a lot of people will take a big chunk out of the retirement account, which means you are going to be in a much higher tax bracket very, very fast. Number 4, everyone should take Social Security at their full retirement age. That might not be true for a majority of us. Now, the big thing with this is you can start claiming at 62, but the benefit is reduced. Now, we know 65 was kind of average. Now I believe it is 67. And there is even something on the docket right now that is looking at moving that retirement age to 69 for full Social Security to try to keep Social Security essentially from running out of money. Now, when you look at this, you have to take some considerations in overall your financial health. What other sources of income do you have? Do you have Roths? Do you have IRAs? Do you have 401ks? And also, what is your life expectancy? This is going to be very unique and very personalized to you. Now, if you know you have a poor health condition, if you know cancer runs in the family, if there could be something essentially that is going to keep you from living to the 85 to 95 age, which I believe for males right now is around 87, if I remember correctly. But if you're one, unable to work past the age of 62, or number 2, don't want to, and you need Social Security to really supplement that income, it might be a good reason to take it. And of course, again, this is going to be very unique to everybody's individual situation, because if you're in poor health, if you have a terminal condition, taking the money early makes sense, because you're not going to be there for 20, 25, 30 years to essentially draw Social Security for the extended amount of time. Now, it definitely sounds appealing if you wait to the 67, wait to the 69, but unfortunately for a lot of us, we can't. If it's health issues, if it's caregiving responsibility, unexpected job loss can force you into early retirement and having to supplement those Social Security benefits much, much earlier. Myth number 5, Social Security benefits cannot be taxed. We know from a lot of different individuals that is really untrue. Social Security benefits can be taxed depending on how much, and they of course are subject to federal income tax, depending on how much you make. For a lot of high net worth individuals, Social Security can be taxed up to 85%. That is right. This depends on your combined income, including your Social Security income and your other taxable income. So again, this is another factor when you think of the IRA accounts, when you think of those 401k accounts. If you have 5 to 10 million in one of those accounts, chances are if you're pulling RMDs out of there in your taxable income, let's say you're pulling money out of those retirement accounts, you're making $100,000 a year, chances are a majority of the Social Security is going to be reduced, or you might not get a benefit really much at all. And again, this is going to make the tax efficiency of drawing down really, really important to focus on, because yes, it can be taxed. Also, if you're taking Social Security and you have earned income, I've seen individuals that get Social Security benefits. They are working still a full-time job while they get Social Security. Social Security asks for the money back. That is right. We have seen individuals that they've actually went back and wanted the money back. And I'm talking 5 to tens of thousands of dollars that they wanted in Social Security back from the individual because they made too much money. Looking at myth number 6, once I choose my withdrawal rate, it is set in stone. That is not true. You can change up. A lot of people do single withdrawal rates, predetermined accounts, best way to calculate your cash flow, exactly how much you need. But of course, you can adjust this. Again, thinking of not high net worth individuals or high net worth individuals, you have to really approach retirement with the flexibility and also life-changing events that might evolve. Again, health related. If you're looking to do, a vacation that you've always wanted to, that is going to be an absorbent amount of cost. Tax laws are always changing. Things are always changing. And a lot of people are also worried that they're going to increase the amount that they are taxing right now when it comes to the traditional IRAs and 401ks. And they're also considering and worried about if there's going to be a point in time where they start taxing the Roth accounts. Now, of course, if this did ever happen, it is all in theory, but if it did ever happen, they would grandfather in essentially accounts, and they've done this before, where they'll grandfather things in, which essentially you won't pay taxes on everything that is there, but going forward, you will pay taxes on a lot of other things. Myth number 7, you have no control over your required minimum distributions. Now, again, this is a myth. Required RMDs, or required minimum distributions, are a crucial aspect of the retirement planning. Understanding how they're calculated, how much potential impact they're going to have for the retirees, and how much you're going to have to take. Now, of course, this only applies to traditional IRAs, traditional 401ks, which is the reason why putting a big bulk and a big chunk of your money, or all of your money, into Roth will give you the ability to not only have the RMDs, is you will be able to use the money as you need. And of course, when the money grows, it is completely tax-free out of there. Now, the purpose of the RMDs is to ensure you are not indefinitely deferring tax on retirement accounts, which means the government wants their money. Put it in layman terms, they're not tax deferred indefinitely forever. Instead, you must choose beginning withdrawing a portion of the account balance annually, which as you age, it gets faster and faster with the percentage that you're required to take out. Just like income that you got from your job source, any withdrawal is added into your taxable income. And of course, you have to pay taxes on that, and it has to be reported to the IRS. Now, the RMD amount is directly influenced by the balance of the tax deferred retirement account. That's why I said when you start getting into higher RMDs and higher balances in those retirement accounts, which means when you get to a taxable income age, again, if you're pulling $50,000, $100,000 out of here in an RMD, because you've grown your account for 40 or 50 years, it is going to be exponentially more expensive than putting money and getting money out of those Roth accounts. Number 8, Medicare will cover all of your health costs. This we know is entirely not true. Medicare only covers a portion of your health, which is the reason why we supplement them with HSAs. We supplement them with a lot of other accounts which you can use. So essentially for me personally, again, thinking of retirement, we are maximizing our HSA accounts, hopefully to get $50,000 to $70,000 over the next, 5, 10, 15 years into those accounts, meaning that long-term care cost is not typically covered by Medicare, and we'll have money in that HSA account to essentially cover any of the medical expenses during retirement, which means we are not taking money out of our traditional and our Roth accounts. We are not taking money out of the brokerage accounts because we already have money into that HSA account, which makes a really big difference. Now, once the RMD impact in your adjusted gross income, often people are surprised to find themselves subject to income-related Medicare surcharges. So again, the government charging you for the metal or for the medical that you're getting. Tax efficiency drawdown strategy again can help. Getting into number 9, tax efficient drawdown strategy is the same as doing aggressive Roth conversions. That is not true, guys. Roth to IRA conversion, so actually paying taxes, is a very tax efficient drawdown strategy. In addition, it provides you suggestions for the type of account in which the withdrawals will come. So essentially, you're draining money from your traditional Roth and IRA accounts. You're converting it over into, you're drawing from your traditional 401k and your IRA accounts, converting the money, paying the taxes, moving it to a Roth. It's, I believe, a conversion that you can do, but I know there's also a backdoor Roth that we're not going to talk about today, but it helps you manage the withdrawals to maximize, again, your tax wealth and the efficiency in there while reducing the taxation of Social Security benefits. And the final one we look in here, guys, you cannot wait. You can wait to start saving for retirement. This, again, is the biggest myth that we see, probably should be number 1. When it comes to retirement savings, if you're asking when you should start saving, the answer, of course, just like everyone else says, is yesterday. Yesterday, you should have started saving if that is the question. If you're 18, if you're 20, if you're 30, 40, 50, even if you're 60, starting saving and really putting money into retirement accounts is pivotal if you ever want to retire in your life. Really making the strategic decision to put away money and pay yourself first will be a game changer forever. Now, personally, Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, anything that you can do with the Roth variation, absolutely do. Even though you're not getting the upfront benefit, when you start doing the compounding interest in a number of years, it is going to be more beneficial to have everything in the Roth accounts. Trust me, you will thank me later. And again, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of logic and a lot of math behind this exact reason. Because essentially, if you get, let's say, to retirement with $1 million in a Roth account, you are paying zero taxes. You are paying zero taxes on the growth. You are paying zero taxes on the retirement account. And you can take the money out when you want to because of your retirement age. Not going to affect everything else that you have because, again, the Roth variation is really the way to go. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about the common myths when it comes to retirement, and I'll catch you in the next video.